Good evening and welcome to the Poetry of Justice show with JackieRay Phillips on YikesRadio.com and AcceleratedRadio.net. Here on the Poetry of Justice show, this is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving our listeners thinking and saying,
YikesRadio.com.
Hi, everybody. Those are the sultry sounds of my mentor, the Mr. Kevin Nash. Mr. Kevin Nash is the owner of this proprietorship here at Accelerated Radio and YikesRadio.com. So I always take the time to give a little shout out and love and respect to Mr. Kevin Nash, because if it were not for his dream and his brainchild, it would be impossible for me to do what I so love to do here on Saturday nights at YikesRadio.com. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go on ahead and give some very special shout out to our sponsorships. And that's going to start out with Miss Lori G, the benefactor of the show. How are you tonight, Lori G?
I am doing well. Right. Well, glad to be back in studio.
I know, right? It's been so long. Oh, my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, as we go down the sponsorships, I want to give a very special shout out to G Baby's Catering, guys. That is a fairly new sponsorship of the show, but not anymore, Lori. I've just got to take that out the script. G Baby's Catering LLC. I want you to check out Chef Mac. You can find him most notably on Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Chef Mac on Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. That's for G Baby's Catering. And then I want to give a very special shout out to who we call here the Man of Steel, ladies and gentlemen, and that's with the WMPJ Steelworks. So we want to give you a very special shout out, and we thank you for your contributions to the show here. And also want to give a very special shout out to the ladies of the chat. They are also sponsors of the show. You can catch them every third Saturday here on the Poetry of Justice show. Those gorgeous ladies include Tanya Michelle, you got Lori G and Shelly C, and of course me, your girl JackieRay P. So you can't go wrong with that, ladies and gentlemen. And then I like to give another very special shout out to our sponsorship, APS Muscle Cars, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. This guy's got a new facility over in Signal Hill, so check him out. Memo, MEMO with APS Muscle Cars.com. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is YikesRadio.com, and I have some exciting news tonight. I am blessed and honored. Oh my goodness, I got so much going on. I got cameramen and I'm trying to be a camera woman, and this is just Yikes Radio tonight. Now, okay, so look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my camera down and I'm going to just allow everybody to do what they need to do. So I have a great guest in the house tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We've been saving the date, and now it's here. It's April 10th. We have in the studio with us, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rodney Lister. How are you tonight, Mr. Lister?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Of course. That's just like a basic intro. So who is Rodney Lister? Let me tell you all, who is Rodney Lister who do not know. I know we have individuals tuning in. We're on YouTube Live. We're on Facebook Live. We're having some good times tonight. Lori's got us hooked up on Facebook as well with our YouTube and extended version. So what I wanted to just say is this gentleman has taken I don't even know what a word to me that's large enough, but this man has taken into his life path journey at this time to run for the mayor of the city of Compton. I've got a lot. There's a lot of information. So Rodney and I have been collaborating and talking in terms of how to do the show and what we were going to do about the show. And the first thing, this was me asking as the interviewer. And the very first thing Rodney says to me is, you can ask me anything. There is nothing off the table.
Nothing off the table.
Nothing off the table, right?
Everything's fair game.
Is that fair still going tonight?
Everything's fair game.
That's so cool. But it's going to be all amazing and exciting, good stuff. So I'm so excited. So how are you tonight, Mr. Lister?
Good, good. It's
Yeah.
great weather today.
Right?
Beautiful facility. I'm honored to be here.
Yay.
I'm blown away and impressed.
Oh, great.
I'm blown impressed.
Yay.
I had no idea what it looked like to be on a radio show that's televised, and I'm just honored to be the first of many that
Exactly,
you all
right?
do. Yes.
This is going to be it. This is it. So, the city of Compton. I have so many questions. As you see, I have a list of things. But I guess I'm just going to ask the first one is why run for mayor?
That's a great question. That's a question that a lot of people ask off the top all the time whenever they see me or I'm end up doing things on social media and whatnot. Back in January 2017, I made this public pronouncement. I called my fraternity brothers up and I said, hey, meet me at the Edison in downtown Los Angeles. They said, why? I said, just meet me at the Edison downtown Los Angeles. So my Sands, a couple of my neophytes, we all got together. They come in, we're sitting down, we're just talking. I made an announcement. I said, in 4 years, I'm going to run for the mayor of Compton. And they said, what? I said, yeah, in 4 years, I'm going to run for mayor of Compton. And they kind of had this stunned look like, well, why? That's a major step for a person that's never been involved in politics.
Right.
Never spoke about being involved in politics.
Okay.
And their whole thing was, well, why? And I said, because nothing's changed in the city that I grew up in, that we grew up in.
Right.
And I just saw things getting worse. Things were going backwards. The quality of life, the beauty of the city was going backwards. The issues with crime, the issue with housing, the issue with homeless, everything, nothing was changing.
No.
And truth be known, the mayor, the current mayor, when she ran 4 years ago, when she ran 8 years ago, her term motto was a better tomorrow.
Right. Okay.
And 4 years ago, she had this thing, let's finish what we started.
Okay.
And it bothered me. I said, well, nothing's changed. So what's there to finish? And I didn't want to be a guy that was on the sideline complaining, saying, I can do this. What about this? This is bad. Like a lot of people do. I said, I'm going to get in the game.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and start getting more involved with city politics, start going to city council meetings every Tuesday.
Yes.
Start going to the budget workshops, start going to the community town hall meetings to learn what other individuals in the city were talking about and become more familiar with what's currently going on in Compton. Right. And I just committed myself 4 years ago. Yeah. And I came around for nomination process and getting the signatures, and I went down, didn't tell anyone, pulled the paperwork and asked my neighbors, would you sign?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're nervous?
I was, yes. I was.
That's a huge undertaking, I kind of feel like.
It
right?
is. And you got to realize how expensive it is to run, too.
Okay, let's tell us about that, the behind the scenes, Lord. Did you know about those, Lord?
I just thought that you went down.
I did not.
Okay, let's know.
I thought that you went down, you got the paperwork, you pulled it, people signed endorsing you to say, I approve of you to run, and then you paid a fee when you turn it back in. I knew it was a fee involved, but I didn't know how much. Okay. But just to pull the paperwork so that you can get signatures, it's $300.
Oh my goodness!
Did you say $300?
$300 off the top.
Oh wow!
So when I walked in there, I wasn't prepared for that, and I was like, "Oh,
yikes!"
Yeah, because that's the moment of truth.
Right. Put up or shut up.
When you know what's going on, you have opportunity to go ahead and get your funds together in December prior to the election. I didn't know. I walked in cold. I walked in cold. I was like, geez, man, Christmas
holiday season.
Christmas just ended. Got to pay off credit card debt.
Really want to run.
I really want to run. And so you pull back, you get the signatures, 20 signatures. I got 30.
Hey,
because yeah, right. Because they have to be registered voters in the city.
Yes.
So because of coming off a presidential election, I felt fairly confident that everyone was registered.
Right.
And but I just got extra in case someone's signature didn't match up or whatever. And then so when you turn it back in, it's another fee. That's
Okay, wait.
$500.
Okay, wait a minute.
Look
There's
at
a
Laura.
fee to get the
There's a fee to
application,
get the application,
and there's a fee to return
and
it.
there's a fee to return it.
Big pimpin'.
Is that standard, or is that just happening in our city?
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if other cities. I should go ahead and say this. I'm quite sure other cities have fees associated with getting your name on the ballot to run for office. I'm not sure if they do it on the front end the way the city of Compton does,
Okay.
or if they do it on the back end all at one time.
Mhm.
Now, I was aware of that fee because I pulled the documents. She said when you come back, you got
Well,
to
how
pay
much is that fee?
500.
Woo.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
So the turn
we're
back
already
in
at
fee is
$850.
$500.
Exactly.
So it cost you $800 just to declare candidacy.
Yes, ma'am.
I never knew that.
Yeah. So
I'm 137 years old, and I never knew that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So a lot of people. So you do have people, and this is the thing that goes into a different area. But this is the thing that I have a problem with. You pay $300 to pull the paperwork to collect signatures.
Mhm.
But suppose you change your mind.
Right.
Suppose you realize that work commitments, I can't run. I can't be involved. You don't get that money back. So
It's not like that when you buy a card and you have that
No,
moment of
no,
regret
ma'am.
and you can like take it back.
because I asked that question.
Yeah, right.
But you know, Rodney, I can support that, because I think when things are monetized, right,
Mhm.
then people really consider and take the time to determine whether or not they're going to be invested. The part that I'm having trouble with
Mhm.
is the $500 return fee. What does that encompass?
Well, that covers signage. So a lot of times in campaigns, you see individuals put up their placards and their posters on walls and so on, utility boxes and everything, and they don't always come back and take them down.
Mhm.
You look up a year later, you still see a sign that says Rodney Lister for mayor.
Right.
Well, the seer, that $500 fee, you do get that back.
Oh, you do?
You do get that back.
Okay.
And that's in the event that the city has to pull and discard any signage that you didn't pick up. So,
Then you forfeit it. You don't get it back.
Yes. And there's a certain time frame, probably a month, and then they get it back to you. But the thing is, I wasn't aware of these fees until I went down there. And that's on me. It didn't bother me.
That's would be good to find out, right?
Exactly. So when I went down there, for a fleeting second, I said, do you really want to do this? Because you're coming off $800 almost immediately.
Now, here's a question.
So you have to
That's
tell yourself
850, right? Or
800.
eight.
800.
Okay, the first one's 3. Okay.
So you're asking yourself, am I really going to do this? Am I going to really campaign, participate, get my name out there, go to the various forums? And as you said, to monetize it, that means if you're really serious about this, put your money up. And there are some other ancillary fees that are associated, but the two fees that you have to pay are the 300 and the 500. And the 300 caught me off guard because I didn't know you had to pay it to pull it.
Right.
It didn't bother me. I just didn't know you had to pay it to pull it.
Right.
But I knew once
But so I hear, I've never run in a campaign, so I don't know. But I hear people say they have campaign funds, right? Is it possible? What if I don't have $800? Can I create? Can I start campaign funding? Give me a GoFundMe or something to be able to establish that 800?
Ideally.
I'm having question with parity. Do you see what I'm saying? Equity and parity.
I'm not an expert in campaign financing.
Okay.
However, I would think that there are probably some regulations that say when you can start collecting funds to run a campaign. But the average person who's brand new, once they pull the paperwork and turn it back in, you would start campaigning at that point. You would start doing fund collection at that time, donations at that time, because there's a paper trail saying that you pull
that
paperwork and everything.
So you got to have 300.
Yes. Now me, because I'm new to this, I'm a novice. I did it all on my own. I paid the 300, I paid the 500, and then I began interacting with some of my friends who would offer to donate and things of that nature. And but it's uncomfortable having to ask people to support you. When you don't move like that, you know,
Right.
but in politics you have to. It costs
You
money
have
to
to.
run.
Mhm.
Well, to run a
Right.
good campaign.
Absolutely.
And I'm learning a lot about this. But going back to the original question, I decided to run because I didn't want to be a person on the sideline, always complaining about why aren't they doing something, and putting in the skin in the game.
Mhm.
So,
Wow.
and then as I started doing that 4 years ago and learning different things and saying, well, why is this like this? And then that's not good. And why does this person act like this? And so on and so forth. I said, Compton needs to change. And I felt that I could be that person. I could be the person to effectuate that change,
Mhm.
be that spark,
How many individuals are running for mayor?
the whole world. you have 10 individuals that are running.
I was like, wow, almost what is that? Wow. Wow.
And
10.
the current mayor decided, the current mayor announced the last week of filing that she was not going to seek office.
Okay.
So they had to, by city charter, they had to extend the nomination period an additional week. And then some more individuals came in and signed up to run. And that's fine.
Okay.
Some people run because they know that's what they want to do. And some people run because it's an opportunity because the current person's not there. I would go run regardless.
Yeah.
I would have preferred the mayor had ran because that would I could have ran my campaign or said, this is what you've done for 8 years. This is how I'm different.
Right.
Compare and contrast
Right.
type of thing.
Got you.
So
Got you.
when there's no incumbent running, your race has to be a little different to make sure you stand out from other people.
Right. Right. Wow. Have we seen a race like this before historically? Look, we didn't do that research. What about you, Rodney? Are you aware?
I can't recall an election in
In the city?
Compton where
The closest may have been Walter Tucker Jr. Remember, there was a
Yes,
Walter
so-
Tucker the third,
yeah,
because
so that would have
Jr.
been-
died in office.
No, the father died.
The father, but he
Yeah.
was Walter Tucker Jr.
Senior. That was
No,
senior.
he's and the son is the third.
I thought the son was the one congressman that went to Washington.
He
DC.
is, which is Walter Tucker the third.
Okay.
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 And I think his dad passed away. There was a special election,
Okay.
and he served for 2 years.
Now, special elections tend to be a little different because of things like that, or
Right.
someone moving on to a higher office at the state level of Congress. But I can't recall an election where the incumbent
Right.
decided not to run. When you look at Omar Bradley, and when he ran against Eric Perridan, that was a sitting against a newcomer. And when you have Mayor Brown, who ran against Mayor Perridan at that time, there was a sitting running against an incumbent. I can't recall an incumbent deciding not to run.
Deciding not to run.
And even the case of death, you still, that's a unique situation.
Got it.
But that person, if he hadn't passed away, may he rest in peace, he may have still decided to run again. Or saw.
Right.
We don't
His
know
dad.
because
Right.
right,
Absolutely.
Wow.
No, I don't know.
That's a good question. We can go about that. We can talk about that like way later. So
I'm just starting my research.
okay, so I have a juicy question. So Lori and I did a little bit of research and we kind of did a little bit of sampling. And so I asked some questions to different friends, like what would you want to see change or be different in the city of Compton? So if elected mayor, what would be your first executive order of business?
I don't know if the mayor has the authority to do an executive order where he or she comes in and says, bang, this is what it is. But one of the first things I would request, and I've said this numerous times, the city of Compton has a budget deficit. We don't know how big or how small it is. City staff has given a report of over $100 million. The mayor, within the past 2 weeks, has said it's only $16 million. That's a big gap. That's a huge gap.
I'm a little slow. So you said there's a budget of $100 million?
No, what I'm saying is that at a city council meeting about a month and a half or so ago, city staff made a presentation to mayor and council. And at that time, they said that the budget deficit was approximately $117 million.
The deficit was?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
117 million.
Okay.
So about 2 weeks ago, plus or minus a few days, the mayor reported that the deficit, in writing, that the deficit was only $16 million. So
with a paragraph that explained what happened to the other.
Just said that it was mentioned that some changes were done, some budgetary things were made, and $64 million was eliminated, and now it's only 16, but no real backup. You know how when you're in grade school and the math teacher gives you a math problem and she says, here's homework, bring it back and show your work.
Yes, yes.
So, especially when you do division, you got to
right. You can see all your work.
You have to pay for one answer.
Absolutely.
Well, there was no work shown when the $16 million was explained. So, with that being the case, and then the state Secretary of State years ago has said that the city of Compton was in the budget deficit. At that time, I believe she said $11 million. So, the first thing I would do and ask my fellow council members is for a forensic accounting, just to gauge what money we have, what money we're pulling in from property taxes, sales taxes, grants, state funds, county funds, federal funds, and what we're paying out. Staff salaries, pension, contractual obligations, equipment, vehicles, law enforcement contract, and what things are we delinquent on?
Right.
What bonds have we not paid for?
Right.
Because the only way you can do a budget and have it be a true, accurate, realistic budget is know how much money you have.
That's like a fundamental premise.
I always give the example. I always give the example of I want to buy a car, and I say, "Geez, well, I want to buy what kind of car?" And I narrow it down, and then I go ahead and I look at the car and I test drive the car, and then when I go in the back to actually buy that car, and the guy says, "Well, how are you going to pay for this?" I have to know how much money is in my bank account.
Absolutely.
I have to know that I can have the X amount of monthly payment, and I have to know that I have X amount in the bank for down payment. If I can't answer the question when he says, how you want to pay for this car, why am I looking at cars? We can't do any real programming, expansion of services, brand new services, without knowing how much money we have. So executive order, but not really executive order, would be forensic financial accounting.
That makes so much
of
sense.
all money.
Right.
The second thing I would do, council doesn't get along for whatever reason, personal, philosophical, a myriad of reasons.
Voting blocks.
Right.
Yeah.
You're never going to move forward as a team if there's decision in the ranks.
Right.
So I really would request and require that a retreat be held. And you have to do it in the confines of making sure that you adhere to the Brown Act, which is open meeting law, so on and so forth. And it can be done, but you have to notify the public where you're going, the purpose of the retreat and all that. And for a couple of days, sit down and hammer out what's going on. Identify where we want to get individually as a council, where we want the city to move to, and any personal issues individuals might have, you need to hammer that out.
Right.
Because if you and your sister have a personal issue, I'm not involved directly.
Right.
But I need y'all to hammer that out because we can't go anywhere together as a threesome because there's a beef right here.
Right.
A lot of good ideas in the city of Compton don't get approved, don't get put into action because of that disagreement, that lack of unity. So you do have council members that won't vote for something. That's a good idea because of an issue they have with the individual person. And politics is politics. That happens on every level. We see it.
Right.
But the city of Compton is too small. And our situation is too dire for us to be in that situation. So the second thing I would do was go on a retreat.
Yeah.
I might not ever get along with you.
Right.
But if we both can agree that we both love the city of Compton and we both want to move that forward, I can play nice with you in the sandbox.
Absolutely.
That needs to happen.
Right. It absolutely
So
does.
that'll be the second thing.
Oh, all right. What was your thoughts, Lori G?
Oh, no, I agree. It definitely does.
I know. That makes a big difference, guys. That makes a humongous difference. Well, all right. So it's going to... What?
No,
It's way too many questions?
No, this is
way
fun.
too many.
I'm enjoying it.
What do you say to those that say, Mr. Lister, do you have what it takes to be the mayor of the city of Compton? I saw a couple of Facebook posts that I would keep nameless, but still.
That is a great question. And I was talking to some friends this past week or so about this. No one's born a city council member. No one's born a mayor. No one's born a city attorney. No one's born a treasurer at all. Every person that is a current member of council or school board or council supervisor, whatever, they had to run without ever holding that position. So no one outside of Ms. Sharif, who is a current city council member, no one out of the 10 individuals, only one has the experience of ever being a city council member.
Okay.
So do I have what it takes? Yes. But if the qualification is, have you ever been an elected official before at the city level? None of us do.
Right.
So to answer that question, the answer would be on my end, yes, because of my work experience, my history. I've been a civil servant my entire life.
Okay.
My dad was a federal government civil servant. My mom was a school teacher their entire careers. I saw what they did. Went to college, majored in political science. And as corny as it might sound, I have friends that had jobs, they had to work on the weekends and they get holidays off. And I said, man, I want a job where I'm off on the weekends. I want a job where I get holidays.
Absolutely.
And I applied to the City of Compton. I went to college, came back, applied to the City of Compton.
Really?
As an employment training specialist.
Oh my God.
I had some familiarity with it, but I took that first job because I wanted weekends off.
Well, that's a good
And I wanted a constant paycheck.
That part.
And I didn't want to be in sales. But once I got that first job and I saw what we did, that department was a job training program.
Okay.
And I also ran a summer youth program. So we were working with the youth, working with individuals that were recently released from jail, helping get jobs. And I was like, man, the public sector is kind of cool. You get to work with individuals that change people's lives.
Yes.
And I liked it. I liked being that frontline person that was so far removed from politics, but you're doing things to help somebody get a job, helping that young person get their first job. And I'm like, man, I like this. You can't get this from working at a bank or working in some major corporation. And from there, I just kept working in the public sector. City of Compton, then the City of Inglewood, and then eventually the City of Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
And I have 36 years in the public sector, working in different departments and different positions. But I like being a person that having a job that impacted people's jobs. I mean, people's livelihoods with the job I had. So taking that experience and then say, I want to be an elected official. Well, now you know how the Department of Public Works and Department of Planning, although they're separate, they depend on each other because zoning issues are addressed by planning. So when someone comes in and says, I want to put this building here or this building there with planning and public works, you have to understand how those departments work together.
Okay.
Having worked in the Department of Finance, you have to understand how departments individually put their budgets together, but how it all rolls up together to form the budget of the entire city.
Wow.
Understanding how when grants come in and they're broken up to be charged against other departments. Because the staff person might sit in the finance department, but they handle your accounting.
Okay.
So part of your money that's going to the records department, you got to break out for that person in finance. Understanding how that works.
Okay.
And not be like, well, why are we paying somebody in finance? Well, that's how it has to happen. Understanding the linkages between all the departments and how city managers work with department heads.
Yes.
How city manager works with city council. Being in that arena for 36 years, I believe that, well, I know for a fact there's no one else in the field who has that type of experience working in local government. Now, you don't have to work in local government to be a good mayor.
Right.
To be a good council person, so on and so forth. But it doesn't hurt you.
Correct.
So I consider it a situation where we always had this term saying, hit the ground running. You know, everyone says it. I know I say it, I mean it. I can literally hit the ground running. Understanding the importance of staff.
Yes.
I've always been a union guy,
Okay.
union representative, union board member. And I can't say that current workers in the city of Compton are mistreated, but they are. I don't believe that they're valued as much as they should be.
Right.
And sometimes you need somebody on council who can understand that. I've been a classified employee my entire career. So I understand that side of civil servant and management. But becoming the mayor, now you're management.
Right.
And you have to understand that.
Mhm.
You have to understand you can't just give everything away. But on the flip side, I understand what it's like to be the person that's working with the public all the time,
Right.
dealing with those frontline issues. We got to make sure that we train them up, give them the best equipment, give them the best computers that they can have, the software, so that they can do their job right.
Properly.
That's one of the knocks against City of Compton and the procedures. They feel that a lot of times people interact with City Hall, they feel that we're behind the curve. We don't have certain apps that help interacting go smoother and
With
easier.
the technology.
Yeah, so understanding that,
Okay.
being a person that will want to go ahead and incorporate technology, because at the end of the day, I'm 55 years old. There's somebody right now who's 18, 16. In 10 years, that person is going to be working at City Hall.
Right.
And every kid today, they do everything via apps.
Absolutely.
So we have to make sure that we prepare for that changing workforce coming in. And I believe I understand that. Plus, having a 20-year-old son doesn't hurt. So I'm like, what all these apps you're showing me? But
Right.
yeah.
Keeps you on the cutting edge.
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I most certainly say it would. Oh my gosh. So yes, you definitely. We're gonna say yes, guys. We're gonna put a check mark. Yes, you do have what it takes. So, okay. So speaking of the word Compton, what is your opinion on those individuals who only love the city of Compton for convenience? Have you run across that? What's up?
That's interesting. I recently had made this comment to some people and publicly. I said, everyone loves Compton until it's time to love Compton. I don't like it. I'm a hip hop guy, but used to be a song by Dub C called Pay Your Dues. I'm very protective of the city of Compton. I grew up in Compton. I've seen the good, the bad, ugly in Compton. I've been pressed in Compton. Got ran up on and jumped in Compton. But it's a childhood thing. But those things make you proud of your city.
Right.
I came through Luther's Park. I worked there as lifeguard, coached youth basketball there. So that park, I've been going there since I was 8 years old. That park became home.
Yes.
Understanding how Compton used to be a place where you couldn't go any and everywhere because of what was going on at that moment in time.
Right.
And appreciating the fact that it's not like that right now. The current people who come in and they live there for 4 or 5 years they don't understand that. So it's like, to me, it's like, it kind of grates on me because I don't view you quite as Compton. You can't tell me what the original Louis Burger is. You're not from Compton. You can't tell me what was the Walmart before it was a swap meet.
I know, right?
Not is a swap meet that became a Walmart. What was it before then?
Sears and Roebuck.
You can't tell me things like that.
I used to love to get the popcorn. You love to get the popcorn.
Come on, popcorn. That's just,
and then we get to go to Thrifties and you get to get your little ice cream over it.
And the Holland's ice cream on.
Wait a minute. You remember Market Basket?
Come on.
Don't even play.
And me, I'm a West Compton guy, so I'm Miracle Market since it first opened up and everything.
And Boys Market. Y'all remember Boys Market?
So when I talk to people,
Square Deal? You probably remember this little market.
This
little small little market on Compton Boulevard, like right on Compton Boulevard, between Oleander and Acacia. I know it was just a little small.
Okay.
A little neighborhood store, like you would just walk around the corner to a store, so you wouldn't have walked around the corner to that store for sure.
Absolutely. Do you remember Humphrey Drive?
Oh yeah. And we
take your quarter and get your soda.
We used to go to Holland's Ice Cream, which is right next door to Wilson Park, and some of the best. It was a mom and pop store. But go back to your question, I feel that you need to understand and know the history of Compton to really be able to identify with some of the issues that the residents have. The things that we just spoke about, they aren't there now.
I know.
And old timers remember that. They remember, why don't we have those things here?
I know.
Why are those things missing? When will they come back? And understanding the
like
importance.
The Compton Christmas Parade.
Well, they found some funds to make it happen a couple of years ago.
They did?
Yeah,
That's
about I think
great.
2 years ago, but then this past year, the pandemic and coronavirus hit, things like that. I mean, that's a staple. You know,
Mhm.
as a kid, you remember going to Compton High School. That's where it ended at, ended the bands. I had little battle bands and everything
Yay!
and all that. You're Tar Babe, right?
Yay!
Yeah, yeah. You too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
She's a
So,
cheerleader too.
oh,
So,
really?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, just remember those things. I think something like that the city of Compton needs to always make
Yeah.
sure that always happens. Be it a partnership with organizations that could fund it
Mhm.
or help sponsor it, because it's history, it's tradition,
It is.
and I just like, you don't have to be a long-term person for Compton to run for office.
No.
Yeah.
I feel better. If I wasn't running for office, I would gravitate towards, okay, which individuals have been here the longest,
Mhm.
like grew up here, can talk about certain things.
Mhm.
That would carry the most weight with me as a voter. I've been asked a lot of times where I was in the group and the guy said, "Where are you from?" He said, I'm sorry. He said, "I would love for the candidates to say where they're from." I immediately knew what he meant.
Mhm.
He didn't want a background. He wanted to know where you were from. I said, 156 in Wilmington,
All right.
behind the airport, Crossland Park
Behind the
Village,
airport.
Wilmington Arms.
Our auntie lived there.
Right.
Do you remember the Gibbs family?
Yes, they
Yeah.
live. My mom, they live 2 houses down. That's your
my
auntie?
Elizabeth and William
No.
T. Gibbs. Absolutely.
With Jimmy and all them?
Uh-huh.
Jimmy, Lawrence, Wayne, Tammy, Gwenny. There's
Yeah.
one more.
Gwenny. Uh-huh.
You remember Jan and Gail?
Jan and
You
Gail.
remember
Do you remember
Yeah.
Jan and Gail Yarborough?
Yeah.
You remember the brooms? The
Yeah,
brooms?
that was,
Uh-huh.
see.
We spent a lot of time on 156.
See, if you can't talk about that, then are you really Compton? If you can't go back in the history of your block,
Mhm.
and I get it. The law just says you have to live here within a certain time in order to qualify for the ballot.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with that. But then when the voters ask you where you're from, how long you've been here, they want to know, can you connect with me?
Mhm.
Can you understand the issues I've been dealing with for a certain period of time and for how long I've been dealing with those issues?
Right.
It's important.
Yes, it is.
We have so much illegal dumping in Compton, a lot. But I grew up not seeing that. So when people talk about that, I understand
Mhm.
their frustration because we didn't have that.
No.
And now they want to know, how do you fix that? Those are very legitimate questions.
Mhm.
Parking on residential streets all over Compton.
It's
But
really
that's the
bad.
issue of housing shortage.
Mhm.
That's the issue of garage units being converted so that they can house individuals. That's why that's there.
But I
Right.
also think too, it's also an issue of a different, and I don't think this is something that's unique to Compton,
Mm-hmm.
but I think because of the housing shortage
Mm-hmm.
and the inability of affordability of single family homes,
Mhm.
you now have extended families and multiple families living in a dwelling, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And everyone in that dwelling has a vehicle.
Yes.
Right.
Which is something I remember. We grew up on Arbutus Street,
Mhm.
and I remember sitting on my neighbor's porch because it faced right down Oleander, waiting for a car to pass by.
Mhm.
It was
Right.
just that quiet in
Mhm.
Compton in the 70s,
Yeah.
right? And now you go to our house in Compton, and you can't find.
Mhm.
I have to park on Palmer and walk
And
back
walk
to
around.
Arbutus.
Yeah.
It's because
Yeah.
I think that, and I think that's an issue that we have to begin to look at.
And housing is a big issue. I believe in two things. I believe in affordable housing,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe in attainable housing.
Hmm.
They aren't the same.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people think when you use those two words, you're talking lower income households, public assisted, public aided households.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. And you do want to create a pathway for those individuals can attain housing
Mm-hmm.
in Compton.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you own a home, you're more likely to take pride in that home.
Absolutely.
You're more likely to take pride in that landscape. You don't want your grass brown because now that's literally your grass.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want the paint in your household or your home to become extremely faded because now that's your home.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that the city of Compton should look into apartment units
Mm.
that are a certain scale
Mm.
in the right locations. There's one thing about the city of Compton that makes it beautiful to me.
Mhm.
It's the only city in LA County, you can look this up, that are bordered by 4 distinct freeways.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
On the-
I.e. the hub city.
Exactly,
Right?
Uh-huh.
but on the north, the 105,
Mm-hmm.
on the south, 91,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm,
on the west, 110,
mhm,
on the east, it's 710. So depending where you work in LA County,
mhm.
getting to a freeway is not a long drive.
Right.
Take the city of Torrance. You have to drive for a minute to get to certain
Mhm.
parts of Torrance
Mm-hmm.
off the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the beautiful things about Compton. So why can't we build certain housing that's a little more upscale for individuals that can afford that
Right.
and live in Compton?
Well, that brings up, I know it's not my turn yet, but
It is your turn.
that brings up a question that I had.
Mhm.
Gentrification is happening all over the
LA
world,
County,
right?
yes.
And based on the things that you've just said,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts about the fear of gentrification
Mm.
or the pleasure of gentrification happening
Well,
within the city of Compton?
the fear is real. But I mentioned the upscale housing. I mentioned that from the standpoint of when you're able to bring in certain rents, you're able to pull in certain revenue from property taxes, which is a hot button issue.
Mhm.
But now I know a certain segment of the community can afford this.
Right.
So I get that up underway. So now I can go to another part of the city or another area and do affordable, attainable housing for individuals that
Mhm.
can't afford 3 G's a month, but
Right.
they can afford 2 G's a month,
Right.
Mhm,
or maybe even 1,700.
Right.
mhm,
And nice quality developments that don't say, here's a house, that's
Right.
it.
mhm.
But something that might have a pool,
Mhm.
something that might have amenities that other higher end places have.
Right.
Because with a shortage of land, you have to go vertical.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's the reality.
Mhm.
But look at downtown Long Beach. They have a condominium,
Mhm.
an apartment boom right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
But what the city of Long Beach has done, and a lot of other cities have done, they said when you build this, you must make X amount of units set aside for this income level
Mhm.
and this income level
Mhm.
to make sure that individuals get opportunity to live in that type of
Environment.
housing
Yes.
because they grew up there all their life. When gentrification comes through, it pushes people out of the neighborhood they always grew up in, makes it all
Mhm.
expensive and
Mhm.
fine dining. And now the person that lived there
Can no
all
longer
those
do that.
years, couple generations, can't live there anymore.
No, it's
Mhm.
hard.
Recognizing that things have to change, but do they have to change so dramatically that we push out the fabric
Mhm.
Right.
of what makes Compton Compton?
Absolutely.
So, and gentrification I don't like that. I understand the word.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I don't like the
it.
word
Right.
because we say when I hear gentrification, I'm thinking you want to push us out.
Well, yeah.
Mhm.
So why can't we go ahead and do neighborhood improvement,
I love that idea.
neighborhood
that.
redevelopment?
Yes.
Mhm.
It's the same thing, but stop using that word because that word causes fear in people's
Mhm.
hearts who are renters. The average home in Compton is selling for mid 400s,
Mhm.
low 500s, depending on the size of the home in certain areas.
Mhm.
I love my city, but really,
Right.
that's just the housing market. And the people buying the homes are not the individuals living in the homes. They're investors
No, they're
who
investors.
put renters into their home. And I get it.
Wow.
But we got to make sure that we create a housing stock for people to live there
Yeah.
for years as homeowners.
I agree. I mean, I worry about the millennials, right? And their ability to afford housing, right? And if there isn't generational wealth within that family,
Mhm.
how does that get started?
The
And
houses.
is there any? I know there used to be a program in the city of Compton, but I'm not as well abreast that would help people become property owners. Is there still that type of programming?
I'm not aware if they do have any type of home buyer
Mhm.
assistance program, but that's something that as mayor I would like to bring forward with city council and see how can we look at doing down payment assistance. There's a thing called community land trust, which I'm a fan of,
Mhm.
and what it is local cities work with buyers to buy a home. The city owns the land that the home goes up on. You own the home.
Mhm.
So you obtain a mortgage, the city assists you with your mortgage attainment, and you pay it, that's your home. And you stay there as long as you want to stay there. Now, when you sell the home, part of the proceeds come back to the city. And the city,
Because you don't own the land.
Right.
but you still get money from it.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, we assisted you with down payment assistance.
Okay.
We gave you money for that, $20,000 or whatever.
Mhm.
The home didn't sell at $500,000. It sold maybe at 200 or 250 because you're only buying the home, and it's your home.
Mhm.
And as long as your family stays there, it's yours. But when your family decides to sell it, we split the revenue. So now we got money coming back into the city coffers, and we put somebody else at the same income level that you are in. So now we're able to make sure we have a housing development program that looks out for lower income individuals and assist them becoming homeowners.
Mhm.
And the way you make it work is you go ahead and you buy homes that have fallen into foreclosure or disrepair,
Mhm.
and the owner walked away from it.
Mhm.
A lot of homes like that in Compton.
Mhm.
But you have to have money to do
put
that.
yeah.
Bringing it all the way back to forensic audit. Because
Right.
you can't do those things if you don't know how much money you got.
You have.
Absolutely.
That's true.
No, you
But
can't.
there are tons of programs out there. I'm an advocate of keeping Compton Compton.
Mhm.
And someone said, what does that mean? I said, I'm not trying to say outsiders aren't welcome, but I would love a situation where if my son grew up in Compton and said, I want to stay in Compton, he had the opportunity to buy housing in Compton,
Mhm.
like a lot of other cities. But in Compton, because the prices are skyrocketing, and investors
I'm so sorry, guys. Sorry.
are has technical difficulties.
Exactly.
I know, right?
Technical
Woo, Yikes
difficulties.
radio. Yikes radio. We're good. We're
I
good.
was like, yikes.
Yikes radio. Yikes radio. Go ahead.
It's
guys.
happening in real time.
I know, huh?
Right.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I just believe in making it
Right. I think that
housing
would be
attainable.
a great program and
Yeah.
a great initiative.
It can happen.
Yeah. And as a voter, I'm excited and inspired by that.
It can happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Look at you.
Look at you, Mr.
Not only
Lister.
great wearing a tie, pretty
See
smart
you?
too.
I
So you're not just a pretty face.
Right.
No.
But it says that Compton, south of downtown LA, and one of the oldest cities in the county of Los Angeles. On May 11, 1888, Compton was the 8th city in California to incorporate, known as the Hub City due to its geographic location, considered a working class community. You know what, guys, I think about, do you guys remember when the Dr. King Memorial was built?
I do.
Do you remember that? I was just
Mhm.
kind of thinking, going down that memory lane. And what about the Compton Library? You guys
That was
remember
the
when
best because
when the
when
library
the Compton
first started?
Library was built, skateboards
Remember
had just
that?
come out.
Yep.
Right?
And that was
And
the
you could
best
just go
place to go
shoo
down.
around.
Exactly.
And you get your roller skates, so you get to go down there on your roller skates. I thought about that when I was just kind of writing and brainstorming and preparing for the show. And then we talked about
But look at the flip side of that, though.
talk to him.
We lost our downtown.
We totally lost our downtown Compton.
In order for those projects to come on board,
Mhm.
we had to sacrifice our downtown.
But downtown was boarded up.
Downtown was boarded up, and I get it. And it was becoming decrepit and all this other stuff. I
They were
get
just
it.
like Woolworths was just all
but-
boarded up.
But check this out. So was downtown Long Beach.
Yeah.
So was Old Town Pasadena.
Hmm.
What other cities did that we didn't do at that moment in time, we didn't have anyone on staff that had the foresight to say, let's not break this up.
Mhm.
Mhm.
because downtowns nationwide started going away, and then what happened? Strip malls came up.
Mm-hmm.
They became popular
Mm-hmm.
all across America,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're seeing what happened with a lot of strip malls. They're going away.
They're going away.
They're becoming empty.
Yeah.
They have to reinvent themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But we gave up our downtown, or we gave up the concept of having downtown in order for certain things to come through. The courthouse, which I get it, it's needed. You don't always, if you're in jury duty and you get lucky, you don't want to drive downtown LA. You go to Compton.
Yeah,
that's a good thing,
Right.
The library, we needed a library.
We did, but if you think about the strip of downtown is kind of starts the other side of Willowbrook.
But back in the day, that
Right.
wasn't the case. Back in the day,
Well, that's true. It came all the way
all
down.
those streets didn't come all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
They ended. Tamarind, occasionally certain streets ended, and you had the stores.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they
That's
opened
true.
those streets up to
You
come
had to
all the
come
way through,
That's true.
but you were able to walk literally from Oleander almost all the way down to Santa Fe and past Santa Fe.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had stores on both
We
sides.
did.
Mm-hmm.
And see, and that's where Square Deal was, that little subsector right in there.
Remember Hilda's?
Yes, of course. Absolutely.
That was a staple for if you went to a Catholic school. That was a staple where you had to go get your uniforms.
Spent a lot of hours there with my children.
Yeah, so we don't have that downtown
anymore.
No,
which
we
ties
really
into
don't.
which ties into what's hindering us from getting entertainment in certain type of restaurants of certain quality in a certain area. And at some point in time, we're going to have to figure out, how do we make Compton a destination city? I've always said I want City of Compton to be a destination city. People say, well, what does that mean? I say, anytime I want to do something on an entertainment level, I got to leave Compton. I want to go to a movie, got to leave Compton. I want to go to a real restaurant on a date with my family, whatnot, I got to leave Compton. I want to go roller skate or bowling or whatnot, I got to leave Compton.
That's true.
Making Compton a destination city where individuals from certain areas come to us to do certain things. And the people that live here stay here to do certain things, because when we go other places all the time, guess what we don't get? We don't get no sales tax.
I say we take our dollars other places.
Because we have to.
Right.
Not because we want to.
What are your thoughts? Because I think there was a bit of a line of thinking, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, with the instatement of the hotel and the casino, that was going to create a bit of a attraction and a destination place.
You mean back when it first came on board?
Yeah, what was it? Crystal Park Casino,
in
right?
the 80s. Well, keep in mind.
In the 80s, that was the thought, right?
Well, when it first came online, it wasn't called Crystal Park.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't. But they changed the name to make it more exciting.
They changed the name. They had to.
Right. Tell me that story.
Because I believe it was the Radisson or it was Radisson, right? I believe it was Radisson.
I'm gonna look it up.
Might be wrong on the name of it, but they built a hotel and they were going to become part of this national chain. And they didn't keep the hotel up to the standards of that chain. And the chain said, like only McDonald's, that you don't upgrade it periodically to fit the national look that the head people have.
Right.
In the headquarters. And they said, if you don't keep your standards up, you got to take our name off the building.
What was the original name on it? I can't remember that.
Radisson or Ramada or one or two?
I'm trying to look it up.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, so then it became Crystal Palace and everything. And then the gaming part of it. When that hotel first came up, the state of California had redevelopment agencies that you got money and you could do all these projects to develop your city, to bring in certain type of businesses and things like that. City of Compton decided to build a hotel. And the citizens at that time, there were some citizens who didn't want it. And there were some who did want it. But it got pushed through and it became a hotel. It never really took off where it competed with other hotels in the area along that corridor. Because when you think about it, you only have the two hotels in Carson along the 91. And as you're going east, you don't have any really hotels along the 91 until you get down on Lakewood or Downey Boulevard maybe,
Oh yeah, that little motel, right?
Exactly.
Six,
But you don't have
yeah,
you don't have
right
any
there.
substantial size
Okay.
hotels. The thought was that we would be able to snipe off some travelers
Right.
that flew into LAX that had business to do
Mhm.
in maybe Orange County but didn't want to stay in Orange County,
Okay.
or business to do in Carson, didn't want to stay in Carson. We would go ahead and capture some of them, but it never really happened.
Right. Right.
Is a hotel needed in Compton? Yeah.
Right.
Is that the best hotel? I can't say. I never stayed there. I've been inside there before.
I haven't stayed
A
before.
friend of mine was he was playing cards there one night. I walked inside just to say what's up,
Mhm.
and it smelled like chicken grease.
Oh
And
my goodness.
I said, I can't stay in here. I just bought this shirt.
Not chicken
I
grease.
smell like chicken. What's going on?
Oh my
I'm
God.
sorry. I'm not making this up.
I
Someone out
believe
there in TV land is like, you know what? He's right.
Like it happened.
You know, probably was good chicken though.
Like, wait, you dipped in there a couple times. It's just like, what? I don't know. It just don't be feeling right. It's just don't. It's a little.
You know,
Don't feel right.
I don't gamble. I don't have an issue with gamble, but I don't gamble. So
I know.
a
That's
couple
like,
times
why
I
am
went in
here?
there. I was going to meet some friends in there.
Exactly.
I have a couple of drinks while they took place and everything.
Mhm.
I think the concept of it and with gaming becoming more and more prevalent, the potential for it to really make money
Mhm.
is there. I don't believe the city of Compton has anything to do with the ownership to the standpoint that they can make suggestions saying, we need you to do this. So I believe it's totally independently owned and operated exclusive of the city of Compton. We might get some money from issuing a gaming permits and hotel licensing,
Right.
but we can't tell them paint the building.
Right.
We can't tell them improve your hotel rooms and things of that nature.
Hmm.
So
So that's part of it, like unincorporated. Would it be a part of that? Part
That's
of it?
Compton.
Rancho.
That's Compton.
Interesting.
That's
huh.
Compton.
Okay. Good
Hard.
to know.
Our Zoom room has a question for
All
you,
right.
Rodney.
Uh-oh.
Princeton asks, if elected mayor, who would you like to make up your dream council out of the candidates running for individual council seats? Treasurer and clerk? Question mark.
Come on, Princeton, man. The election is like 11 days away. I need votes, bro. I need votes.
So you cannot comment at this time.
No.
Please.
I mean, okay, Princeton, I'm going to answer this question as authentically as I can. So, as a resident of the city of Compton, I'm obviously a voter, right?
Mhm.
So I had to vote for city attorney. I had to vote for treasurer.
Mhm.
I had to vote for city clerk because those individuals are up for election.
Mhm.
And because I live in District 3, I had to vote for councilperson District 3. And so the current councilwoman is Miss McCoy, and she has challengers against her. So to answer part of Prince's question, Dream Team person from District 2, which is currently occupied by a current city council member. I've interacted with Mr. Fisher, Mr. Dawson, and Mr. Spicer, and have had real conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
So any one of those three would be my dream team from that. And there are more than 3 people running in that race.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, you know,
It'll be a tight one, huh?
you know, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
But that's what that retreat's going to be for.
Yes, ma'am. But and if anyone wanted to go ahead and say, and people in the community have their various issues where they don't care for certain people of those 3. And people might not care for me. I respect that.
Right.
But all I can say is that I've spoken to all 3 of those men, and I know that if any one of those 3 were to win, that would be a good look for me.
Gotcha.
That would be good for me. The city attorney's running unopposed, so he's also a fraternity brother. So
okay.
Kappa man. So I'm gonna go ahead and say dream team.
Just put it in there.
You know,
out there.
City treasurer is tricky. City treasurer, you have a long-term treasurer, Mr. Sanders.
Is that Wesley Sanders?
Doug.
Doug
Who's Doug
Sanders,
Sanders?
okay.
Yeah. And unfortunately, some malfeasance occurred that he wasn't directly involved in, but in my opinion, occurred on his watch.
Okay.
Oh.
And maybe I shouldn't say this, everything, but he asked me a real question, so I'm gonna give him a real answer. 'Cause at the end of the day, this is who I am anyway.
Yeah.
24/7. So for me, that eliminates Mr. Sanders as someone that I would want to have on my dream team. Could I work with him? Absolutely. But since I'm a voter
Mm-hmm.
and I get to vote for that race, it's not about Rodney being a mayor, but Rodney being a voter.
Yes,
Right.
that's it.
So
That's it.
that leaves Ms. Arita and Brandon Mitchell. I believe it's Brandon Mitchell. Brandon, if you're watching this, I apologize, brother. I'm about to laugh. I'm bad at names. But those two individuals, I spoke with both of them
Mm-hmm.
and liked them.
Yeah.
Liked them a lot. I couldn't go wrong with either one of those two
Got it.
being on my dream team.
Mhm.
So that eliminates Mr. Sanders.
It does.
So I'm sorry, what's the name again?
No.
Princeton.
Princeton. So Princeton, I hope you can work with me a little bit and see that I'm not trying to be evasive, but I need some votes too. So city clerk. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it out there. I believe her name is Brenda.
L. Green.
Pardon me?
Brenda L. Green.
Is that her name?
No, remember that from the
I
Watch?
was like, that's from the
Oh.
Watch. I was like, I don't think Brenda's running. No.
I believe. Oh no, Miss Boone. I believe it's Miss Boone. I like Miss Boone a lot. I do. Miss Boone knows the city charter. I mean, she knows it like the Pledge of Allegiance.
Wow.
She does. I've spoken to her. Miss Godwin is nice. Spoken to her, but it's something about Miss Boone that
Mhm.
resonates with me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and put myself on the ledge and say, and I know somewhere in my campaign manager is like, dude, you shouldn't be answering these questions.
Okay,
but
we should not do these things.
no. You know what? At the end of the day,
They were in the Zoom room. They were.
At the end of the
That's
day,
right,
at the end of the
sorry.
day, I made a comment where I said to you, you said, Rodney, do you want to know some of the questions? I said, no. You said, is there anything we should stay away from? I said, no, keep it at me. So
Yeah.
I put
All
myself
right.
in here. So that's who I like for city clerk.
Okay.
So I believe that in regards to my district, District 3, there are some people who I like a lot. I've known Miss McCoy since I was a youngin'. I started my first job at the age of 14 at the City of Compton, some youth
Cedar
program,
program.
Cedar
Nice.
program.
Love the
And
Cedar
Miss
program.
McCoy and I started working for the city full time in '88. That's when I first recall meeting her,
Mhm.
but I've known her since '88.
Okay.
So I know her as an individual
Mm-hmm.
before she became elected official. And for me, that gives me a certain level of comfort,
That's
knowing that I
awesome.
could work with her
Mm-hmm.
because I know her.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That makes
Uh,
sense.
do I have concerns and complaints about her office? Well, yeah, we all do. But do they rise to a level where I think that she is a horrible choice? No. Now, a person that is strong, there are two people who are strong pushers against her.
Mhm.
Miss Richardson Blue and Miss Flores. Uh, I've interacted with Miss Richardson Blue more than I have with Miss Flores. I like the things that they say.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
Mhm.
But if I'm creating a dream team and I want to hit the ground running, I'm gonna say Miss McCoy
Uh-huh.
for that seat.
Okay.
So the two individuals for city treasurer,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I can work with either one of them. I like them both.
Mhm.
I think
Princeton.
Princeton. I would suggest going to the website and giving them calls because they will take your calls.
They do.
Oh, they do.
They will take your calls, but those two individuals will be on my dream team. And because I'm a loyalist type of guy, so because I've spoken to both of them, uh, uh, the one person who I will vote for, they are aware I'm going to vote for them. So I don't want to say it right now to sway anybody else's votes.
Right.
So
you can tell me after the cut.
Yeah, I'll tell you afterwards.
After the clip.
But and I'm not sure where Princeton lives, but I think the hottest race in Compton right now is District 2.
Is that our district?
I think that's our district.
District 2 is hot. It is.
Okay, like what's the zoning area for that?
That's gonna be East Compton. That's gonna be everything east of Willowbrook and north Willowbrook, El Segundo on the north.
No, that's not my district.
Willowbrook on the west.
District.
Atlantic on the I think Atlantic on the
It's
east.
like the Dominguez area, Dominguez High School.
Like
area.
no, not that far over. I don't think it might be.
Mm-hmm.
It might be.
And who's running in that race?
That's the one with candidate Jace Dawson, candidate Fisher, candidate Spicer, candidate incumbent Galvan, and I believe that there's one other person. I think it has five in that race right there. But that's the hot race.
That's heating up, huh?
And then me.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Absolutely. Now, why don't you kind of, remind our listeners when and how do they vote?
Well, in years past, traditionally you would go ahead and you would actually go to the polling place on the election day, which is April 20th.
April 20th.
April 20th, everybody. April
Put that
20th.
in the
You would go
comments.
there, and then if you had requested an absentee ballot, you would have got an absentee ballot, and you could fill it out, mail it in, or you could fill it out and go to the polling place and drop it off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because of the pandemic, at the national level, election you have for president and all the other offices, you had the option of standing in line or mailing your ballot in. The city of Compton, I believe in December of this year, decided to make this current election all mail-in.
Oh, wow. Lori, all melon.
All
Yes, all
mail-in.
mail-in.
So there are drop boxes. I believe there's one in Gonzalez Park, Ludus Park, the library.
I didn't know that. I gotta figure out because I gotta go drop my
Hemingway Park, and Norwalk.
Okay. But
And-
Gonzalez for sure.
Yeah, Gonzalez,
Gonzalez
Ludus,
Park.
Hemingway, Compton Library,
Mm-hmm.
and you can drop them off.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, you can drop them off up through the 20th. So the day of the election, you can drop it off, or you can mail it in. And
So you don't have to use the drop off. You could also mail.
you can mail it in.
Okay.
And if you drop it off, take a picture of your tracking number
Mm-hmm.
so you can track it. If you mail it in, take a picture of your tracking number and go and register to track your ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And when the ballot actually reaches the election office, you get an email saying your ballot has been received.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And when it's been counted, you get an email saying your ballot has been counted.
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
I tell people who want to mail their ballots in, don't mail it on the 20th. No. Mail it on the 19th. Because if you mail it on the 20th, you have to make sure that you're mailing it at a time it's gonna get picked up.
Mm-hmm.
You might go to a box on the corner and drop it off at 3:00, but they may have picked it up for that day at 2:00 or 1:00.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna mail it on the 20th, make sure that you are aware what time to mail it in.
Right.
If you're gonna, I tell everybody, mail it that Monday. Drop it in the mail that Monday.
Just do it.
If you drop it in at 8:00 at night somewhere on a Monday, the next day in the morning when they open that box up, they're gonna pull it anyway.
Right.
Give yourself that cushion.
Yes. Absolutely.
I don't tell everybody. So like I haven't done mine yet
Okay.
because I want to wait for a couple of things to still look at and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm gonna mail mine tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow's the 11th. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good timing.
Yeah.
Lord,
I
we
mean,
need
but I'm gonna actually go inside the post office and drop it off.
and put it right there.
Yeah.
Don't put it in one of the boxes.
You can, but for me, I'm gonna go inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Absolutely.
I wouldn't suggest giving it to your mailman or mail woman
Mm.
and have them do it, because, and this is not a slight against them, but I know that a lot of times letter carriers are so full with stuff like that. I don't want to give them extra work.
Yes,
You know, just go
that's very true.
go to the post
Yeah.
office, mail it.
Right.
You know, and then also if it doesn't get mailed in, then you have an attitude with your postal personnel.
That's true. That's true. That's
And
true.
we need them way more than they need us. My mail might
Absolutely.
come once a week from now on. I can't figure out why.
Like, dang, I don't get that anymore.
Yeah. So, so
Exactly.
Princeton, I hope I answered your questions.
Yeah, I think so. Princeton hasn't responded back in the chat, but as soon and if there's any comments, I'd encourage him to do that. And we invite all of you to give us a call and talk with our candidate here. You can reach us at 310-910-9676 extension 1. That's 310-910-9676 extension 1.
Extension 1. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sissy. I appreciate
Great.
it.
And okay, so Princeton has another question. Are we ready?
The Princeton review. That's
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
what's so heated about the council race you mentioned?
You know, politics can be an ugly business, and especially when people have a goal that they want to attain, be it doing things that maybe they wouldn't done in the past to get elected, or your supporters may be doing something unbeknownst to yourself. So in District 2, there's been accusations of residency. People question people's education. Do they really have this? Histories regarding bad behavior in the past, maybe things of that nature, and it's become public. You know, text messages and emails and postings, and it just makes it a very, I don't want to say ugly, but it's made it a very contested race, where the race really should be about who's the best person. But some of the things that are coming out are legitimate.
Okay.
They are legitimate, you know? And if you can prove that it's not true, prove it. And some have, and some have, but it's just very contentious. It's, and as a voter, if I live in District 2, and I didn't know what's true, what's not, I would be hard pressed to try to figure out who's the best person.
Who's the best candidate?
And that's why I say call them. And we've been, City of Compton has had the nonprofit organizations and whatnot. Compton did a fantastic job of holding forums for the candidates, about 7. I've done all of them.
Wow.
I've got forum fatigue, on top of some interviews on top of that. And they were advertised. I don't know if a lot of voters had the opportunity to watch the forums, to see people talk, see the question that they want to answer. But the reason why I do them, because I want people to see me.
Right.
Yes.
And then that way, if you say, I don't want to vote for this dude. At least you have a reason. His voice irritated me. I don't like bow ties. I don't like guys with eyes. I just don't like the way he looks. But at least you can say that because you saw me.
Right.
Versus going off of what somebody else said. Don't vote for that guy. Well, why? Well, just don't. So that's why I did all the forums. That's why I did the interviews and things of that nature. I think in District 2, it's very important that the residents who are undecided take time to look at all the candidates running. And maybe the person you want to vote for might not be the best person, but that's the choice that works for you. You can never get mad at that.
Absolutely.
So true.
No.
That's so very true.
That's true.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, I said no. You can't get mad at that person for doing their research and having questions.
I know, right?
Exactly.
I have a question for you guys. Do you happen to know Okay, I'm just going to tell you guys this. In 1867, Griffith D. Compton led a group of 30 pioneers known as Comptonville at the time.
Yep.
right? Griffith D. Compton donated his land to create the city of Compton in 1888. Again, that was on May 11th, with a population of 500 people. The first city council meeting was held on May 14th, 1888. But what I found to be quite interesting in our research process, that 100 years later, in 1988, Straight Outta Compton was released by NWA.
Was that on purpose?
Right? I'm wondering, right?
You know, but we would be remiss if we don't remember or don't factor in the land contributions from the Dominguez family.
Yes.
Which allowed Compton to spread
Expand.
its size.
Exactly, to expand and spread. What about Richland Farms and the residents there? You guys remember growing up? You could much closer to the farms than us, huh, Lori? To the Richland Farms.
You know, when I was younger, there was a park I used to as a kid play baseball at in the farms, but really didn't go in the farms that much. Not for anything bad. It was just the farms were always kind of like this little isolated area between like Greenleaf and kind of larger. What's that? Is that First Street White Marsh that went from Wilmington going back towards Oleander or whatever? But it was like this enclosed. There's only a couple ways to get up inside there. Maybe Center. You can get in off of Center. You can get off of White Marsh, Caldwell.
Bennett off of Wilmington.
Yep. Bennett. Richland Farms was always that area. The zoning allows it to have farm animals because of the size of the property. Right. Kind of like and that's the reason why they don't have a lot of streetlights in there. Because they wanted to keep it rural.
Right, keep it rural.
You probably have a riot if you probably get voted out of office if you say let's put streetlights in here.
It's not
beautiful properties too.
There are a couple in there,
yes,
but not a lot because of the livestock issues and everything like that. But and there's also an area in Compton, I can't recall the name of it, behind Compton College, that originally that's where a lot of the professors and university president and whatnot used to live. Just on the west side.
Jackie Fisher lived there?
Where we used to live. What was the name of that street?
Off like by Intradrugs?
By Intradrugs?
Off of Artesia?
No.
Behind Compton College or like off Artesia?
You would get to it the way I used to get to it was coming down Greenleaf.
Okay.
And then there's a little gate before the main gate that goes into Compton College.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about. You turn in there.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
I remember, yes.
That's a nice area.
I was on the other side, but the other side of there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And that's the one thing about City of Compton. There are some, I love the entire city, but some cities, the housing is more compact than other parts of the city. But as a whole, there are some parts of Compton that really are jewels.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You go down the street like, this looks like a different part of Compton. What is this? And not new developments, like the older
homes.
Yeah.
I know they're the Centennial High School area.
Exactly.
Really beautiful homes.
You know, and that's what makes Compton so intriguing, so unique, because actually every couple of neighborhoods look different. Have a different type of look to it and things of that nature.
That's true. Well, our Zoom room has some more questions for you.
Okay.
And this one is getting on the more personal side. So Angela P would like to know.
Excuse me?
Angela P would like to know, are you single?
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
There we go.
No
I
ring.
want to know, are you single?
Single, Angela. There you go.
Tell me, baby.
Was that a real question?
Yeah. It's a real question. Of course. I am not trying to shoot my shot.
No. The listener.
Angela. Okay. All right. Yes.
Well,
Angela was
thank
out
you,
there.
Angela, for the question. Yes.
555.
And again, we invite you to call and talk with our mayor candidate here, 310-910-9676, extension 1.
You know, and that's an interesting question she asked, because when I first said I was going to run, some friends of mine was like, well, are you gonna have a girlfriend or whatnot? And I was like, well, why?
Does that matter?
Well, actually, but my male friends and my female friends, they were like, I don't know if a single guy can run and win and be taken serious. I'm like, does that?
Oh.
I was like, well, I'm not running for president or anything like that. But those were things that I heard. So there was a couple years ago, back in 2019,
Like,
I had said that
Have there been single mayors before?
probably so. Well, Perry was single.
Oh, Eric Perridan was single.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Let me not speak for that man. He wasn't married.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
There was
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to offend anybody that may have been dating
Somebody.
Well,
and that we know of, right? There was no public record of a marriage.
Yeah. So, you know, I never wanted to be involved in any type of scandal where someone comes up and says, "Oh, he's running for mayor. Oh, well, let me do this." So I took the conscious effort of saying, I'm going to run for mayor. I'm going to stay focused on that. And keep my attention on that.
Right.
You know, because the last thing I want to do is something pop up on IG somewhere or something like that. And, you know, I went on somebody's post and said something inappropriate. Now it comes up, you know, everybody's joking, but all of a sudden my joke is the worst joke.
Of course,
Right,
because you're in the public
Right.
eye.
I don't want to be that person.
Exactly.
But I don't talk like that on any of my social networks because it comes back and bites people.
Exactly.
You know,
That's that forensic stuff. You got
Yes,
It
Angela.
is.
That was.
Really.
And so since we've kind of we've moved into the scandalous period.
Scandal.
Scandalous. So I have a couple of questions. Being born and raised, just like you, born and raised in Compton. And my parents were quite politically involved and motivated when they were here on this earth. So there's a long history of scandals and bribes and corruption from the mayor's office all the way down.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? How do you clean that up?
Well, that implies it's going on right now.
I believe it is.
Okay. So how would I clean? How would I? I'm trying to narrow the scope of this question.
Wait a minute. I wasn't ready for that one, right? Yeah. Well, there wasn't there a recommendation a few years back that came out from the state or someone that we should hold an independent audit of our funds? It wasn't a mandate, but a recommendation of that.
So you have a couple of things going on with that question. So let me go ahead and just let me work backwards and come forward.
Okay.
In the past, there have been previous mayors, city council members, city managers get involved in court cases that cause some to do jail time.
Yes.
You know, for misappropriation of funds or stealing funds or whatnot. So how do I know that I won't let myself get involved in that? And I say it jokingly, but it's true. I'm built for a lot of things. I am. But I'm not built for jail.
I just gonna say, but
I mean, and that's a true
but jail
statement.
isn't one of those.
No,
I'm Gucci on this side of the wall.
And my family, my aunts, my friends are all from Compton. And my mom, she passed away in January. But if my mom was still here, another reason why I wouldn't do that because the embarrassment associated with doing that. I don't think I could ever live that down.
You know, but Rodney, I don't think you would do that. I don't think you do that. But it kind of connects to and a question we had earlier about putting together your dream team, right?
So would that be the case? If I know that I'm holding myself to a certain standard, I'm going to do my best to hold my council members, my counterparts, to the same standard. Now, how do you do that? I don't like the word transparency because it appears that it makes it sound like there are times that
you're not.
Yeah,
correct.
But for right now, the word transparency. My thing is every single dollar that comes into the city of Compton, everyone's gonna know about it. Not just this person, this department, or these individuals. The entire city will know about it. It will be on council agenda. It'll be notarized that we got this in. And the city council, for the most part, to the best of my knowledge, does that. I'm always seeing the agenda item saying authorization to receive this money or that money. I don't know if it's all I'm going to go off of myself the agenda, but transparency on every single dollar coming in and every single dollar going out, because everyone knows it's $1 million right there. And at some point in time, that million becomes 900. Then everyone's going to say, well, what happened to that missing 100?
Right.
But if only a couple people know about it, it's easier to do that. So with that being the case, that's how I would do. That's what I would do to make sure that money doesn't go mysteriously missing. And that's one of the big complaints that residents have. Residents do say a lot that council's stealing money, city manager's stealing money. I don't know if that's true or false. I like to think that it's not, but people say that. So all you can do, the city administration as a whole historically has done a lot to lose the public trust. It's on us to earn it back. And it starts with just saying, hey, for as long as we need to, we're going to be transparent. We're going to tell you everything. We're going to show you everything. If there is that going on right now, and I become elected, and I don't have my dream team, so maybe some people from the past are still on the team, I'm going to make sure that I push as hard as possible that we report everything that comes in. In the past, going to what you said, there has been resistance from previous administrations not to do that full accounting.
Right.
And I think the reason is because no one wanted to come out that they were involved with something that was missing. If I'm trying to hide something, I don't want y'all going looking for it.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and not approve it. So I think that's one of the reasons why it was kind of vetoed and stopped in the past. I'd like to believe everyone right now running for office is like, oh, we want to clean up the city. We want to go ahead and get everything above board. We want to know what all the pennies and nickels and dollars are. So if everyone means what they're saying, regardless of who wins, they all should be asking for forensic accounting.
Yes.
Whoever wins mayor and city council at that first meeting, they don't bring it up. You already should be telling yourself, you lied. Because all the forums I've been in, all other 9 candidates, well, and not all 9 haven't shown up consistently, but when they have shown up, said the same thing. People running for city council said the same thing. Treasurer, clerk. So we all saying the same thing, but saying something to get something ain't the same as carrying it out.
That's so true.
And, and I think that if people have more people holding them accountable, you wouldn't be having shady behavior. I like the fact that a lot of people in Compton know me. As a person. That means that when I'm doing something dirty and I go to the barbershop, I'm going to get called out.
Right.
I'm going to get called out. I ride the blue line a lot. That's not going to change when I become mayor. I don't like driving. So if the train goes there, so somebody's going to call me on that train, yo, you stealing money.
Right. Oh my God. It's horrible.
If you don't have, I hate city council people in any jurisdiction that don't have their feet on the ground. I don't see you at the store. I don't see you at Louis. I don't see you in Louisiana. I don't see you.
Food for life.
I just see you when you doing food giveaways. But yet you from the community. When Compton College is open, I was on that track every Saturday and Sunday. I ride my bike in Compton. I walk around. So why haven't I seen those people? The current people.
That's true.
Someone said, I sometimes I walk from Willowbrook to Wilmington and 156 where my house is and everything. Because I hate driving. So I'll walk. It's a half-hour walk.
Right.
And I made that comment and someone said, Mayor Brown walks that. I'm like, where? I've never seen her walking. And people hit me with these things. And I'm like, where?
Right. Like I'm here on the ground every
here,
day.
Or I'm not doing anything special. I'm not doing anything that's extraordinary. Just doing regular guy stuff. Because at the end of the day, you want your mayor and city council member to be regular like you so they can understand what you deal with.
Right.
Come on.
Absolutely. What do you think, Lori G?
I agree. I think it's a change in culture, isn't it?
Oh, it has to be.
That we've had a culture that doesn't operate from a level of complete collaboration and transparency in ultimately our business practices. And I think the key thing you said is accountability, isn't it?
Yeah.
A system won't operate effectively if there's no level of accountability
Right.
instilled within that system. So,
And it's interesting, you don't get paid to be a mayor of Compton or city council member. You get a stipend
mhm.
and you get a car allowance, you get some medical insurance, and I believe you get a cell phone and whatnot. You might even get a laptop, I don't know.
Okay.
But you, to put yourself out there where you have a bullseye on you all the time and you're not getting paid.
Mhm.
And you paid $800 just to get in the race? Don't forget that.
You got to do it for the love of it.
Yeah.
That has to be
That's
it.
true.
Or unless you work in something backdoor.
But now here's, again, devil's advocate,
Mhm.
right? I know through the years it has been alluded to
Mhm.
that is what sparks the motivation for the
course.
corruption, because the stipend is so low. I think the last time I checked it was about $7,200 to be mayor of the city, and that maybe we need a full-time mayor that has an actual compensation
Well,
tied to it to decrease the
Well,
temptation.
I-
What are your
I-
thoughts about
I
that?
believe that, well, that is true. Lack of money
Mhm.
from doing something. They call it part-time, but it's not part-time.
No, it's full-time.
We've had some good council members who grind, and they're putting in a lot of hours to be part-time.
Wow.
I believe that sometimes you might not get the best candidate possible because they can't afford to run.
Mhm.
Suppose you got a young person, mid-30s, homeowner, a wife, couple kids, but might be the best person ever to run for office.
Right.
They can't afford to.
No,
They got to pay their mortgage note,
absolutely.
that car note, and the kids are playing sports and this and that. And so how can they afford to run?
Can't.
So jumping ahead for a little bit, I do believe that the mayor and city council should be compensated. I do believe that they should be made full-time employees. However, not now.
Not right now.
Mhm.
We have a budget deficit going on right now. We have to figure out how do we get ourselves from the negative to the positive. So what I would propose that in the 3 elections from now, I believe it's 2032, beginning with in 2032, you pay your mayor and city council.
Those become full-time positions.
Full-time positions.
That's a
And
great idea.
you don't allow them to have any outside employment. They
Mhm.
sign this, so on and so forth. And the reason why you pick that figure far away, if we can't get our finances together in 11 years, no, as long as 11 years, then we got bigger problems than paying our city council anyway.
Right.
Right.
But they deserve to get paid for the work they're putting in.
Mhm.
I believe that, but right now, it's not the time.
Mhm.
And I do believe the stipends are a little low. And there was a time, I'm not sure how recent, it may have been 6 or 7 years ago, where the district attorney informed the city council to tell them to stop paying themselves for attending certain committee members.
Meetings.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And the explanation that was given for why it was happening sounded valid to me, that that's what had always been done.
Mhm.
No, that they weren't aware that they couldn't reimburse, because some individuals who do attend the meetings get paid.
Right.
Counting people. They just figure that they pay themselves too, which makes sense. If I'm going to a meeting, you're getting paid,
Yes.
but no one really understood the charter. So maybe the incentive to pay yourself, but because the stipend you're getting is so low anyway,
Right.
and you're attending these meetings outside of your regular council things.
Mhm.
So sometimes, when a person, you never know what a person who is in dire financial straits might do.
Right. That's so true. That's so true.
That's true.
And so why tempt
Or
somebody?
even through
Validation.
rationale and validation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we live in a society that we pay and validate through monetary gains.
I tell my
So if we only
I-
give 3 cents to our mayor,
when I
that's-
go somewhere and I see a friend leave her purse around and everything, I say, "Hey, take your purse with you." She's like, "No, I know anybody here." And I always say, "You do, but you don't know who's really broke right now. You don't know who needs that extra little bit of money right now." And because they're in dire straits, like you just said,
Mhm.
they're gonna risk that one time.
Right.
And it happens.
It does.
People, it happens
Absolutely.
amongst friends. So that happens at city council level. But I don't think that that's really happening on the outside looking in. I I choose to believe that that's not happening right now.
Mhm.
I could be totally wrong, but I'm choosing to believe that no one's stealing right now. Because if they are, with that forensic audit, it's gonna come out.
Right.
Right.
Now we all
Yeah.
looking at you like, oh, you the shady one.
Exactly.
So
That's true.
Chilton.
I have some questions about the economic growth and development in the
Yes.
city. And what has COVID or how has COVID impacted that growth trajectory, if at all?
I think on a regional level within Los Angeles County,
Mhm.
it has slowed down uh, the growth that all cities were on. Some cities got hit harder because their economic base was really big. They had malls and movie theaters and big corporations that were major employers in the area, and things of that nature. Uh, People weren't buying as much as normal. People weren't going to stores. So the stores were closed down, like Best Buy and Target and Ross and all that. People were buying stuff more online
Yes.
than going to the store. So when things are opening back up, we're also accustomed to buying online now, but it's still not going back inside
Right.
at the rate that we used to. The pandemic has killed a lot of businesses. Some businesses went away and will not come back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know the exact number how many have hit the city of Compton, but in a regionally, a lot of businesses have closed down. A couple of restaurants I used to love to go to, gone. They were already small anyway.
Right. They just couldn't
But
survive.
yeah, that's
Medeiros,
the
they're
thing.
gone.
Is
Pardon me?
Medeiros gone?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Just
So-
say.
But now, what President Biden does, and they're still working with it in Congress, he signed this massive infrastructure project deal, and he signed it's called something relief bill to give individual governments money directly to offset the losses they took because of the coronavirus and things being shut down.
Mhm.
So I think the city of Compton may do what I would suggest we do is the portion that comes in that we use to offset any extra money that we had to spend to operate the city government, staff salaries, law enforcement, things of that nature, that we set some aside to assist small businesses,
Yes.
Mhm.
with small little microloans if
Yeah.
possible.
Yes.
Help them get reestablished. And additionally, using our resources too with the SBA.
And those PPP loans.
Yes.
Can we get some of those?
And some of those are forgivable.
Right?
Some of those are totally forgivable.
They are. Loan forgiveness.
But a lot of people didn't use them right, so some people are catching cases.
Got in trouble behind that.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not doing that. I'm not built for that. I'm built for that.
That'll be a no.
That'd be a no.
Absolutely.
But
no.
got hit hard, but I think within a couple of years, if that long, we'll bounce back. I believe the city of Compton needs to bring in new businesses while not neglecting the current businesses, but we need to bring in new businesses that bring in new income streams.
Yes.
We need to work with new technologies, manufacturing.
Yes.
We have more and more companies going to electric. There's going to be a need for more batteries and newer batteries in the manufacturing aspect of it in Compton. We got places that would be great hubs for that workforce while
Absolutely.
employing city residents.
We need that.
We do.
What about that new development area, relatively new, on Central, between Rosecrans and El Segundo, prior to getting, before getting to Centennial High School?
You mean the Brickyard?
UPS and yes.
With the Best Buy, all that is?
Yes.
Yeah, and those type of projects are great for the city. They were done well. Done well. The landscaping, the way the walls are done, the setbacks, the traffic flow, and those are businesses to a certain level have helped the housing prices in that area because of the quality. They employ Compton residents, great sales tax beneficiary to it, and then when you go back south on Central, those businesses tie into the success of that Starbucks, that Panda Express,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
Rite Aid,
That
that
burger.
all that, you know. So that was a development that was done very well. And then the
Right.
development off the 91 freeway off of Central and Artesia.
How's
Well,
that doing?
it's
Is
doing
that the
well.
In and Out?
In and Out Burger,
Uh-huh.
El Pollo Loco, Jimmy
It's
John's.
always so
all these
crowded. I never go up
That's a
in
good
there.
sign, all
That's
right?
a good
That's a good
thing.
sign. But they're doing well.
Right.
They're doing well. So things like that bring in revenue,
Mhm.
bring in people that normally wouldn't come to Compton to eat necessarily.
Mhm.
But we still need those sit down restaurants.
Mhm.
That's gonna
We
bring
Now,
in.
definitely
do you remember the Sizzler that was on
I
Compton
used to,
Boulevard?
I used to
Love
love
the
the Sizzlers. That's
Sizzler.
back in the
My
90s.
God.
Yeah. Why do you think
1985.
that didn't?
I
I never
remember that.
understood this. Do you
Well,
have an
Sizz-
idea
Love the
why it
Sizzler.
didn't
Sizzler
make?
started downsizing,
Remember that?
And why did they take ours?
probably because the revenue wasn't working out for
Nothing
them.
like
But
And I
Sizzler,
just thought
Sizzler.
because the courthouse was right
yeah,
across the street,
but that was
that lots
Sizzler.
of traffic would come
good.
there.
But that was a corporate decision. That wasn't City
Mhm.
Compton and everything. That was
Mhm.
corporate. But oh man, I love Sizzler. I still go to the one in Carson.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the closest one.
I
What's
love
one of them?
Sizzler.
Yeah, Carson. That's
Yep.
the closest one.
I haven't been to Sizzler in a while.
Across from the
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The cheesy bread, man.
The
Oh, yeah, I
cheesy
love the cheesy bread.
The cheesy
Absolutely.
bread is straight
Gotta get that.
murder.
I'd like to circle back to something you said at the start of our time together, which is a question. I mean, for the 137 years I've been here, we haven't had in Compton, which is not a drive-in movie theater, but a sit-down movie theater.
You know.
Why is there any, have you heard any thoughts of that? Would
No.
your administration look to bringing that on board?
Well, 4 years ago, our current mayor, when she was running, she said she was going to bring a movie theater to
Mhm.
Compton. I'm not sure what happened.
Hmm.
It was going to be in the area where the Best Buy and 24-hour fitness is and all that. There's
Mhm.
land over there. Not sure what happened. I'm not sure if they couldn't get a movie chain to say, we'll come to Compton. They couldn't find an independent chain to do it. It was a logistic issue.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. But I looked up and it was in the same time frame the City of Carson had a movie theater.
Right.
Oh.
So I'm wondering, well,
Right. Well, there were some rumors about. Remember, Magic Johnson opened up the movie theater in the
yeah,
Baldwin Hills
but I'm not
area.
exactly sure what happened. But that's something that I would push.
Mm-hmm.
I would push for that. That ties into the entertainment aspect of what we don't have in
Mm-hmm.
Compton. I like to roller skate,
Mm-hmm.
and if you look at YouTube and Facebook, there are so many people doing roller skating on basketball courts. The rims are taken off now. That flat area or parkland areas, there is a thirst for that, and that's something that can be done relatively inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, and that can
Skate
be
park.
open 7 days a week, like the old skate depot and Cerritos.
Right.
Remember the
You
skate
know,
depot?
I do.
That's nice.
I mean,
We had that skating when we was little kids, guys, right there on Central.
yeah, skate depot. I mean,
Yeah.
Skateland USA.
Remember that?
Yeah. Skateland was dope, but Skateland was off limits to a lot of people too.
That's what I'm saying. That's
So-
what it takes us to the crime.
The
of
crime.
that.
So
Right?
that's something that any business that comes to Compton like that, we got to work close. The city's got to work closely with that business, with law enforcement to say we're gonna keep this. We want that type of crime element abated as much as possible citywide anyway,
Mhm.
not just in the brand
Absolutely.
not in the brand new area, not an older area. It's like you only care about the new area. You don't care about this going on over here.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But to grow our economic base, we're gonna have to really be on top of making sure that this area doesn't become known as you can only go here if you're from West Compton
Right. I know.
or East Compton
Right.
or things of that nature.
Leads me to my next
Neighborhood.
question. If I'm concerned about crime.
Yeah.
Where are we on that? And the debate between the sheriff department versus Compton PD being reestablished.
Well, crime, unfortunately, when the pandemic first hit, the first shutdown first hit, crime started to gradually tick up.
Mhm.
At first, it was domestic violence issues,
Yeah.
then child abuse
I
issues,
know.
then the auto deaths because you had more cars at home that weren't moving, and it started to tick up. And then you started to have more shootings increase. because people were in closer proximity to one another on a continuous basis because you couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
Right.
You know, and it started to spike. Compton has had several shootings in the past week or so.
What?
You know, I don't know if it's gang related. I don't know if it's just personal issue, but within the past 7 days, maybe 3 or 4 shootings. 2 of them resulted in homicides. So crime has to be addressed,
Mhm.
and they have to be addressed in partnership with law enforcement and the city of Compton leadership to identify hotspots, hot areas, to identify how we want to handle patrolling and saturation issues. Plus, at nighttime, with the side shows occurring or burnouts occurring, which is happening all over LA County, but it's
Yes,
happening a
sir.
lot in Compton.
Really?
You know, you got to address that.
No, I don't know what a sideshow burnout
I'm sorry.
is.
Cars, people with cars, really fast
Oh,
cars.
yeah, I saw that. The big, yeah,
Yeah.
that's, yeah,
I'm sorry.
on Santa Fe. Yeah.
Well, all
I didn't know
over
what it
it.
was called.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
see that all
so,
the time. Yeah.
You know, law enforcement, we only have X amount of hours, X amount of officers on the streets at certain hours.
Got it.
You know, we pay about between $22 and $25 million a year for X amount of officers, X amount of cars, so on and so forth. So to have more officers, you got to pay more money.
Right.
That's how it works.
Mhm.
So I don't know how we would address that aspect of it.
After that
Uh,
forensic audit.
Pardon me?
After that forensic audit,
Yeah,
we could. You see what I'm
but
saying? Find more funding.
regarding crime, the reduction of crime is a multi-agency issue.
Mm-hmm.
You need to identify what's causing the crime. You need to identify how you prevent that. You got to identify how do you address crime after it's occurred, eliminating to as much as possible this entire no snitching policy,
Right.
which I get, which I understand,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to figure out how to eliminate that or
Mhm.
reduce that because law enforcement can't do its job if no one's talking to them.
Right.
But conversely, no one's going to talk to you
Mhm.
if they feel that you don't care anyway.
Mhm.
So you have to address that. You know, you said, I think you mentioned the discussion about bringing back our own police department.
Yes.
I hate to say this because it sounds petty, but I haven't heard anybody say this beyond me. So if other people are saying that are running for office, great. That means other people are finally thinking that way. And the reason why I first said it was not because I hate law enforcement, but not because I don't care for the sheriff's department as a whole. I just felt that if we are not being treated a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and we feel that we can't trust the officers or the agencies that provide us services, and we are a charter city, and we're paying for that, that means that we can choose whoever we want to choose.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We can get our own.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're not getting any satisfaction, if no one's accountable when they act improper, because that sheriff deputy is not a deputy of the city of Compton.
Right.
They're deputy of LA County.
Right.
Right.
That's their boss.
Right.
And the sheriff is the ultimate boss. We can go ahead and complain saying, Rodney sucks, he got to go. But that captain and that sheriff say, yeah, let's move Rodney. But if they don't say that, I'm going to still be there.
Right.
When you don't have your own, you don't have accountability.
Mm-hmm.
That means you can't remove or fire or terminate when it's called for.
Right.
But when you have your own, then you can't put requirements in saying we want the officers to live within a certain radius of Compton.
Right.
Now your workforce resembles your community because they're from your community. But when they're not yours, sheriff officer can live in Santa Clarita and drive to Compton every day. I mean, I doubt
That's true.
I doubt that they would do that, but that
Could be.
That could be.
That's quite possible.
Or a person could live in La Palma
Mm-hmm.
and drive to Compton.
Mm-hmm.
They really aren't yours.
I know.
So my whole thing is, if we cannot get satisfaction on the relationship we have with law enforcement,
Yeah.
and I also don't know who damaged it. I don't know if the city council, mayor, council member, council persons did something that made the sheriff, the captain of the station, and her staff feel like they were being supported or incorrectly attacked. So now they fell back. It takes two people on average to that relationship.
It's true.
So we should fix that. But
Right.
but conversely, there's nothing wrong in looking into the feasibility of developing your own. There's a thing you can look it up, and down the line we have the conversations called the Camden Experience. The Camden Experiment.
Camden.
And what they did back in 2001 or 11, one of those years, they got rid of their entire police department.
Okay.
And they brought back, and everyone kind of essentially had to reapply for their jobs.
Mhm.
And it was some ups and downs to it. It was some bumps in the road to it. But the reason why they did that, because they realized that what they had wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
The law enforcement relationship with the public had become so dysfunctional. And the issues were becoming so inbred, us against them. They started over.
Yeah.
Now, I use that example to say, if a department is already in existence can start over, why can't we start our own?
It's true. Do we look at the reasons, the rationale why they switched it before? Why?
Well, I mean, I get the rationale. As a citizen, I understand. The CPD was
Correct.
what they were, right?
I was never a fan of CPD. I'll leave it at that.
Yes.
Right.
I've never had the best experiences
Ever.
with CPD when I've had experience with CPD.
Mm-hmm.
And so the momentum to get rid of them was there. It was there.
Yeah, it was.
And, you know, the police chief and the current mayor at that time, which I believe was Chief, I can't think of his name, start with an H, Hurley or whatever,
Okay.
and Omar Bradley, I got to the point
Mm-hmm.
where he fired the chief, and then Mr. Perridon's brother, who was a captain, fired him too.
Yeah.
And as a mayor, you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
It worked for you. And then that allowed the sheriff department to come in. And when they came in, crime did drop a lot.
It absolutely did.
Because they came in with
Very
different
aggressive.
operational tactics and everything. They didn't have any real alliance or allegiance to current city members. The downside was they didn't know the community.
Right.
So after that brand new toy effect went away,
Right.
but, oh, y'all still the sheriffs,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Which was some of the doubts or concerns, you know what I'm saying, from the onset of that. But
That's true.
I don't know. It's a big city for us to have to police. You know what I mean? I don't know, guys. You ready to do this, Mr. Lister?
I believe I am.
Yes,
I tell myself every night,
Yeah.
you can do this.
Yes, of
Yes,
course
you can.
Yes, you can.
So
So April 10th, April 20th.
20th.
I'm
April
April 10th
20th.
is you here, so I'm like, oh my god.
20th,
Sorry about that.
you know, it should be. It's gonna be a couple of days before they have the final results, because normally less than half of registered voters vote. We kind of hover about 30% of registered voters vote, which puts us about between 15 to 17,000 people on average. In good years, there've been some years where it's been around 10,000.
Mhm.
So because it's going to an all mail-in ballot, every single voter who's registered, about a little over 50,000 got a ballot.
Okay.
Everyone's not gonna turn this in,
Right.
No.
but you can't just say on the 20th or the 21st or the 22nd,
Right.
it's over,
No.
because factoring in mail deliveries, they probably gonna allow mail to come in up through about the 25th, 26th, and still be counted,
Okay.
you know,
Okay. Yes.
because it only has to be postmarked on the 20th.
20th.
So in theory, I could take, I'm going out of town,
Mhm.
and I drive to Las Vegas. I have my ballot,
Yeah.
and I put it in the mail on the
Yeah.
20th, and it gets stamped.
On
Right.
the
It
20th.
has to still be counted.
Yes.
Yes.
It doesn't say it has to be counted, mailed in California.
Right.
So, you know. Oh, and importantly, if you find yourself outside the city of Compton and you are near a drop box for ballots, do not put your ballot in that drop box,
Okay.
Okay.
because it will not get picked up.
Oh.
This is a City of Compton election.
Okay.
It's not an LA County election.
Got it.
So when the county officials send their staff out to open the boxes, they're only going to those 4 boxes that are listed in your ballot
Okay.
packet.
Okay.
So suppose you're in Hawaiian Gardens and you say, oh, there's a box. or you've been carrying around for a couple of days and you
Mhm.
see a box and,
You're like, oh,
don't do that. Ludus
Okay.
Park, Gonzalez Park, Hemingway Park, the library.
okay.
Those are the four.
The
Four
four.
places.
And put it in the mail
I'm gonna go to
on the
Gonzalez.
19th.
You're gonna go
I'm
where?
gonna go to Gonzalez Park. Put my
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go into the post office. I
And
like
drop
that
it off
idea.
there.
And drop it off
Dump it
there.
off. Go inside.
And get my little text alert.
Okay,
track
so
it.
we'll do that.
Track it.
I'll
Take
do
a
my
picture, track it.
We'll get a track.
And I think there's a box in. Do you want us to track it? Check
Exactly.
the box. Yeah. But thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Oh my God.
It's been a wonderful time.
I hadn't even looked at the clock. Have you guys looked
Oh,
at the
good
clock?
Lord.
Holy, look at Rush. She's like, yes, Jackie. I
Rashid
have.
said he's
He's
looked
like-
at it repeatedly.
But I
have
thank you
had
for the
a
opportunity.
really great time.
Thank you, staff, cabinet. I hope I didn't move around too much.
No,
But
That would be
I
me.
love this.
our
This is great.
cinematographer is excellent. He
Yeah.
got you even if you were moving.
Okay.
Yay, Lawrence.
Yeah, launch the
Appreciate it.
business.
And to the
I
people
love those
at
people.
home who ask questions, thank you very much. Humbly. Appreciate it.
We've got a lot. You had a lot going on Facebook too.
did.
A
Uh-oh.
lot of different comments. Let's take a look at some more of the comments.
Oh, who's gonna hurt my feelings about
Greg
this?
Woods is watching. Hey, Mr. Lewis House is watching us tonight. How you doing? The fabulous G. Lou. Catch him on Sunday nights. He says hello, Lori G.
Hey,
G.
G.
Lou,
Lou,
glad
how
to
are
see you in
Good
the
to see you.
building. And Mr. Greg Woods from Compton High School. Ron Blade says, good job to
Hey,
you, Mr.
what's up,
Rodney
Ron?
Lister.
My guy.
And Eric Cole, he says, what's up? You've got a lot of fans over here tonight, sir. And
That's
yeah.
your boy. He went to school with you.
I know,
Yeah.
you know. But Eric, we got him in the house tonight. I drove this really hard to Compton people, like in the inboxes and I was just boom, 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 just driving it home. Like, we got to make this happen. And I see some of those individuals tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you, Monique. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. City of Compton, the election is Tuesday, April 20th. We want to make sure that you get your ballots in for the City of Compton. I have decided, I think I know who I'm going to vote for. And then let's talk about like your name being like number one
On the ballot. Yeah.
Number one on the ballot,
Yes,
Lori.
ma'am.
All right.
There's some statistics that go into that, Lori G. There's some people
Yeah.
when they don't know who to vote for, they will arbitrarily vote for whoever is number one.
All right now.
So you're all
That-
in the line.
Well, they can't go wrong.
That was one of the reasons why some elections in the city of Compton in the past
Mhm.
were contested, because they felt that certain individuals' names were put at the spot number one on purpose.
Ah.
But the LA County, they do this. It's totally random. And I got my ballot and I opened it up and I said, what? So, yeah, number one on the ballot. It's a sign.
Boom,
It is,
shakalaka,
absolutely.
shakalaka. Well,
Fine.
Rashid, if you could do
Right.
me a favor, if you could just get us a little Dr. Dre to get ready to outro. We got some full Compton natives in the house
Oh,
tonight.
yeah.
I'm a little raunchy, so we're gonna get ready. Lord, you good?
We all are.
I'm good. I've had a great time.
You did?
Thank you very much.
Very nice meeting
I
you.
Thank you very
know,
much.
You too. There's so
Appreciate it.
much. Anything you need us to do, Rodney, you let us know if there's any more information.
Hey,
And
You
come
know
back
what
and
I'm
visit
saying?
us again
I most
here.
definitely will.
Right. We will have your
Thank you very
victory
much.
celebration.
I know, right?
go.
Absolutely.
Got a plan for it.
You
All
ready?
right. And thank you all in our Zoom land. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. Take care.
That's it. Y'all ready to go?
Compton and Long Beach together, now you know you in trouble. Ain't nothing but a